Welcome back. Zimbabwe is celebrating the collapse of the Robert Mugabe regime and the return of Emmerson Mnangagwa as their new leader. Mnangagwa is expected to be sworn in as the new president on Friday. Here's the latest.
A page is turned in Zimbabwe. President Robert Mugabe has lost his iron grip on power after 4 decades. And the country is heaving a sigh of relief. The celebrations continued late into the night. Mugabe's resignation has raised new hopes.
I was born in 1980. Mugabe was in power. Up to today, for 3 generations, Mugabe has been in power. Everyone has been suffering because of Mugabe, and nothing was being done. And today marks the new independence.
On behalf of Zimbabwe, I am so happy. We are liberated. I'm so happy for our children, for our generation. I believe this is the new generation. This is the new beginning.
The joy that you are seeing is because the young are looking forward to getting jobs. The young are looking forward to a better future. The young are looking forward to a glorious Zimbabwe.
Mugabe leaves behind a shattered economy. Once Africa's breadbasket, Zimbabwe is now facing poverty and joblessness. Industries have shut down and tourism has suffered. Mining industry is the only one that comparatively stayed healthy through the regime. Global powers are thus hoping to get a pie of the economic basket. China was quick to welcome the new regime.
China's friendly policy towards Zimbabwe will not change. We are willing to continue with mutually beneficial cooperation, win-win principle, and to actively strengthen exchange and cooperation with Zimbabwe and bring the relationship between the two friendly countries to a new platform.
The US and Britain too expressed readiness to rebuild the country.
Well, of course, we have to wait and see exactly how this unfolds, but at first sight, this is a moment of hope for Zimbabwe and for the people of Zimbabwe. For 37 years, they've been languishing under the rule of a despot who impoverished their country. And what we hope now is that this will be a turning point, a moment when they can go forward to free, fair, democratic elections next year. And that's what we will be encouraging, together with the rest of our friends and partners in the region.
We saw today the resignation of Robert Mugabe is a historic opportunity and historic moment for the people of Zimbabwe. The people of Zimbabwe have firmly voiced their desire for a new era to bring an end to Zimbabwe's isolation and allow the country to rejoin the international community. The future of Zimbabwe, though, has to be determined by the people of that country. We look forward to and hope for free and fair elections.
Over the next few hours, this man is expected to take the oath of office as a new leader. But will anything really change under Mnangagwa? Mugabe's replacement is known to be equally ruthless in his methods as the ousted president. His politics and his methods have been shaped under Mugabe, and he held sway over the administration as vice president until November the 6th, when he was dismissed. Will his return to the country finally end the political turmoil? Bureau Report, WION.
And joining us this evening on Gravitas, Wimbai Muswaburi is a political analyst from Harare, and Lance Guma, managing editor at Nehanda Media, with us from London. Good evening to both of you. Wimbai, to you first. Is Mnangagwa expected to bring any democratic reform, or is this just power changing hands from one leader to another?
Well, I would like to believe that what's happening right now is the fact that we need a leader. So it's power changing right now. Bringing democratic change will have to be determined by us as Zimbabweans, because we are the ones who know what we want. So I would like to say I'm sure that's what he's planning to bring. But at the same time, there is nothing that he can do without us telling him what we want. It's our nation.
Lance, is there clarity on what becomes of Robert Mugabe? What sort of a deal has he struck for this exit?
It's not immediately clear. I mean, from the beginning, it looked like he faced the option of impeachment. And if he, I think the clear deal here was essentially he was meant to choose between intransigence, which would lead to impeachment, or striking a deal. And earlier when he refused to step down, it looked like, you know, impeachment would be the only route. But through I think the impeachment proceedings had to be halted midway through after he resigned, clearly meaning that some sort of deal was struck. We understand that he wanted immunity from prosecution, and that he wanted to be allowed to keep his money and private property. We also saw what appeared to be ministers who had been under detention or under army custody, aboard planes, meaning some of his allies have since been released. So probably that is the deal that was struck. But I think the more immediate problem for Zimbabweans is the fact that Mnangagwa is taking over with the help of the military. It's a testament to how unpopular Mugabe was that everyone was willing to pretend this was not a military coup, yet it is a military coup. So the question then becomes, what happens next year if the opposition win the elections? Will the same army that have put this president in power, will the same army allow the opposition to take over?
And I can tell our viewers that these are live images that we're getting them from outside the office of the ruling party. Wimbai, the questions that Lance has raised are pertinent, and it's not just people in Zimbabwe. The international media hasn't called it a coup either. They're describing it as a takeover, which is, I'm assuming, a euphemism for a coup. But how do people in Zimbabwe see the man who's taking over, Mnangagwa?
I must tell you that people on the ground have always wanted one thing. And that one thing is to remove Robert Mugabe, which has happened. They have gotten that. Right now, what the people of Zimbabwe need is him gone. Right. The coming of Emmerson Mnangagwa is a bit shaky on other people's thinking, because they think that he was in the same line, he was in the same family, he worked together. It's the same thing. It's basically, moving with another dictator. But on the other hand, I would like to urge Zimbabweans that the elections are happening in 2018, and we are going to choose our leader, the leader that we want, and to be the people's choice, to be the Zimbabweans' choice. Yeah.
I'm going to thank you both, Wimbai and Lance Guma. Thank you very much. I'm afraid I'm out of time, and this is a story that we're tracking very closely here on WION. What happens next in Zimbabwe after the end of an era, certainly 37 years in power. Robert Mugabe is out. Another man is going to be sworn in on Friday.